created my two scleral flaps. I have got fluid through either a trocar cannula or through an AC maintainer. Here I'm using a trocar cannula. I made a 20 gauge sclerotomy 1 millimeter behind the limbus. Now you notice I'm cutting off that suture because of the pseudophacodonis and the inflammation it is producing. I don't think we need it. Another thing is to dilate the pupil. I couldn't see very clearly, so I've dilated the pupil with iris hooks. Now my next step is I want to see after vitrectomy whether I can get this haptic properly externalized. So you see, the problem, if you notice here, is this is a single piece non-foldable IOL, and to my dismay this is one of those lenses which has those eyelets. Now you've got to use this handshake technique, and watch, I've got the haptic tip, I'm bringing it out, but look, it's got stuck. It got stuck because there is an eyelet there which is preventing it from coming out. So my next problem here is I have to put this haptic back inside the eye. So once I have this problem, obviously, of an eyelid which I did not realize immediately, I'm going to go back, re-internalize the haptic, catch it again from the other hand. Now I'm going to extend my incision a little bit here, the sclerotomy, so that my eyelet comes out. And you can see now I'm catching the tip of the haptic. Remember, this is a single piece non-foldable IOL, very tricky to manipulate, because if I do slightly extra manipulation, the haptic will break. Now I'm bringing that eyelet out there. Once I've got it out, the remaining portion of the suture I will knock off. Once you can see I have done that, do some vitrectomy here. Now from the second side, I already know I have an eyelet, so I'm extending my incision a little bit better. Now again I have to go in for the handshake technique, and if you notice, my problem is first to catch the haptic, and once I catch the haptic, I will then manipulate with my two hands, and you can see there a little bit of vitreous present in that area there. So once you see that area, you can go ahead, do a vitrectomy. So I'm not moving further till I finish up that area there, the vitrectomy, clearing it all up so that I don't have any traction. Now once that's done, I go in back again with the forceps, catch the tip of the haptic, externalize. I had already made my incision slightly more here. Remember, in the end of it, everything is going to get glued down. So even if I have a slightly larger incision, I'm on track. Now once I have got both the haptics out, I've cut off the remaining suture. Now I center my lens properly where it is supposed to be. Now at this stage, I create my Gabor Chariot's pockets. Lovely thing started by Gabor from Germany. Now when you tuck these haptics, remember, you cannot just flex and tuck. These are single piece non-foldable IOLs, so you have to withdraw and tuck, and that's what I'm doing just now, withdrawing a little bit of the haptic and then tucking it inside. And you can't tuck beyond the eyelet, remember that. So I'm tucking up to the eyelet. Now I take off my iris hooks. Once my iris hooks are out, I'm much comfortable now. Put in air. Why am I putting air in the AC? Because I'm going to apply glue, and for glue I want the area to be dry. So obviously I'm going to off my fluid. When I'm going to off the fluid inside, I'm going to make that area dry. So I need that air so that I don't get hypotony. Now the question comes, how did the patient behave? Look at the same patient, post-op, vision improved to 20/20. Now let's move to the next clipping which I thought I will show you. And before I start that, I request the people in the back, there are chairs in the front. Please come inside and you can be more comfortable. There are a lot of chairs in the front here. Now, next problem which we face, let's see how we can handle it. Because this is another worst case type of scenario which we need to understand how to manage this better. There are nice sofas comfortable here on this side also. So, now this particular patient, if you notice, has a massive subluxation. And you can see the cataract itself is subluxed so much and becomes difficult to treat such patients. Now the question comes, yes, you can do the methods of the endocapsular rings, etc. But I think we prefer to do it in another way, and I'll show it to you just now. Now you can see I'm measuring the white to white. Always measure white to white and go for the shortest distance, because normally these IOLs are 13 millimeters. So if your white to white is too much, you can go for a vertical, a nice trick taught to us by Jeevan Ladi from Pune. Now you see I'm going ahead doing some vitrectomy. I've cleared out a little bit of that cataract, but that is very hard. It's not going to come out with my probe, vitrectomy probe. So now what am I going to do is, watch. I'm going to go inside, and you can see here I'm keeping the tip of the haptic outside the cartridge, grabbing the tip. Now once the tip has been caught, I will ask my assistant to inject the lens inside, externalize the haptic. Once the haptic has been externalized, now watch, I'm going to do a handshake technique, but the key game here is my cataract is still present. I'm going to do this behind that cataract. So in other words, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to do is I'm first doing a glued IOL, and you can see I've caught that lens there, haptic, brought it out. Once my haptic is out, my next step is to bring the cataract in front of the IOL. Once I bring my cataract in the front of the IOL, then I am safe. So before that, I will create my Gabor-Chariot's pocket, create my tunnel tucks inside that, so that my lens is stable. So now what do I have? I've got a cataract dense. I'm going to bring it inside and bring it above the IOL. What have I done? I have created my own posterior capsule. In the bargain, if the haptic comes off, you can externalize it back again, which I'm doing just now, as you can see. But in other words, you are now going to do a scaffold. The IOL is acting like a scaffold in which I can now do phaco above the IOL and be safe that that nucleus piece will not fall down. So in other words, you have combined two techniques here, the glued IOL and the scaffold, and so this is a glued IOL scaffold technique. Now once my lens is centered, this patient had a history of trauma because of which he had a subluxation, and if you notice, the patient had traumatic mydriasis. So at the same time, when I'm inside that eye, I might as well do a pupilloplasty because I need to make that pupil small, otherwise he will always be uncomfortable. Now when you're doing this, fluid is always going on inside the eye. So see that trocar cannula or an AC maintainer is inside that eye. I'm doing my pupilloplasty, making that pupil smaller so that the patient will not have a glare post-operatively. You can pass as many sutures as you deem fit. So as you see, gradually and slowly and steadily, my pupil becoming smaller till I find, okay, this looks good enough, and you can see how the case looks at the end of surgery. Once I have done this, inject some air inside, seal those flaps down, and you can see air in the chamber. I've sealed everything down there. In other words, this is how the patient looks at the end of surgery. And now the question comes, how did the patient behave? 10 days post-op, you can see the patient vision improved to 20/30 vision. The last clipping which I wanted to show you all is another technique here, and when I'm going to start that, I request people in the back can come in the front because they're standing there. There's a lot of seats here and sofas here for them to sit down here. Now look at this particular case which I thought I'll talk to you about. Here you can see again another bad subluxation present. Now in this particular clipping which I'm going to show you here is, there is a phacodonesis. I've showed you the glued IOL. I've also shown you now the glued IOL scaffold technique to manage these cases. Now in this particular case, as you'll notice, there is an obvious subluxation which is quite bad there. Now in such cases, what we tend to do here is, you can do a rhexis. Now remember one more thing. If I find a case which is not progressive, I might do this, what I'm going to show you, which is a glued capsular hook. But if it is a progressive condition like pseudo-exfoliation, etc., we straight away go for glued IOL, because we believe personally that progressive conditions, you'll be better off by knocking off the actual problem, which is the bag of the lens. So you can see here now, I'm having difficulty in performing the rhexis. Once I have got my rhexis completed, and you can spiral it to make it slightly bigger if it's small too much in the beginning. Now remember, where the maximum subluxation was, I created a scleral flap. Now once I have done that, I'm doing some hydrodissection here, and look at the subluxation, it's much larger than what we previously thought. The color of your audiovisual hook onto the rhexis margin, and now you can see it pulls it on. Once it pulls it on, I'll now fast forward it because we lost because of the audiovisual a little bit. Very simple here is, once my phaco has been done, IOL done, I bend the capsule, tuck it into a tunnel. Once I've created a tunnel there, the same capsular hook becomes a glued capsule, and you can see how the patient looks here at the end of surgery. Finally, you can see here post-operative 10th day. Here you can see I've not done a glued IOL, but a glued capsular hook, and fixed this patient inside there. And you can see it's a well-centered IOL. So this, I thought, completes the third thing of the glued capsular hook, which I wanted to talk about. The reason I just fast-forwarded because we lost some time in the audiovisual presentation. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.